Hello everyone and welcome back to another match of Beyond All Reason, and apparently a quick one, as today we're going to be playing on All That Glitters, a map that tends to go the distance. So I'm certainly interested in seeing exactly what we have out on the field today. Our red team leader, the Cortex commander that goes by the name of Haze, or maybe Hazy. Hey, we'll go with Haze. Our blue team leader spawning in the canyon, canyon position right there. Gaviscon, there we go. Yeah, the blue team leader also spawning as the Cortex commander, going into some of those wind turbines and a couple of metal extractors too. Very, very good stuff. This is a rare position for the blue team leader or red team leader to spawn in. I feel like usually the top tier players, they tend to either choose a front line on this map or they tend to hide in their corner, like Sunrise 7 has chose to do over here. Gonna be playing as an Armada commander in the tech position, the hard tech position. Definitely a spot that we usually don't see come into any sort of action until maybe 11-minute mark, maybe 15-minute mark. Really depends on what build they're going for. Certainly early Marauders can hit the field around the 16-minute mark, but sometimes it can be a little bit quicker than that if, for instance, you have some teamwork going on. Looks like this time it's not going to be the case, though. The blue team, stock standard as can be. We do have the Seafoam Green Commander Jollybean here, going to be going for some regular bot lab shenanigans, probably going to be aiming to capture these mexes, sacrifice the commander, all that is stock standard. So my question is, after seeing the time of this replay, what on earth are we gonna go for to close this game out so quickly? One of the two teams must be thinking about it. We have Orange Juice sending out some fighters right now. Gonna be playing as an Armada commander and going for some of those early air units. Always a little bit strange to see Armada commanders going air. Not because it's wrong or anything, but just because of how much more powerful the Cortex bomber is. Essentially, you can think of it like this. You need two Stormbringers to rival one Whirlwind, right? So you have to make two bombers to produce the same amount of destruction, let's call it, on the field that a single Cortex bomber would be able to. And with efficiency like that, it's really difficult to justify ever going Armada in the air. I mean, especially in the early game where a couple thousand energy means your entire energy bar. Yeah, that kind of production doesn't come up until at least the early mid game. We do have vehicles out here on the front lines all the way across. Triple hat trick right here. Twisted Sack, Gianware, and Dukem Nukem, or Doke Nukem. Is this Duke Nukem's alt account? Anyways. Hot pink player, apparently. Choosing an interesting name right there, but gonna be going for a little bit of vehicles alongside their brothers. All Armada as well, which is pretty interesting. We do have a single bot player here. Papa Smurf gonna be playing bots over here. I think the Canyon Lane certainly justifies playing bots. Those pawns, have I mentioned that the pawns have gotten a little bit of a buff recently? I'm not sure if I ever brought that up on video. The pawns have actually been changed recently. They now have a little bit more speed, making them certainly viable against grunts. It used to be a really bad problem because grunts could essentially kite forever with no repercussion. Bomber coming in right now. How much value can it get? Well, okay, we're going after the metal extractor. Those wind turbines are pretty close together. Nothing dies. Armada bombers, man, they are tragic. Oh, we might get one more bombing run. All right, well, you know what? We dropped 3 bombs. If they can connect, how's it gonna go? Hey, we do manage to connect, and that was a beautiful explosion right there. We'll all be taking it back. That bomber definitely got its value out here. Despite being an Armada bomber, it still managed to do huge value over there, so I'll give it to you. Certainly managing to blow up enough wind turbines to justify its cost in this early game. We do also have a rover making its way around the map here, trying to find any value that it can. Right now, blowing up metal extractors for the Maroon commander, who's going to have to replace all those. That takes time and, most importantly, metal. And when you don't have those metal extractors, obviously, it's hard to find metal around. Yeah, you're going to have to reclaim at least some of your base. You're going to have to do something about that. Constructor's busy putting together metal extractors in the backline as well. Certainly a nice little bit of aggression, especially for a rover. I mean, they're basically free. Very easy to utilize those. Cheeky little transport has dropped a shell shocker up on this high ground here as well. Always a cool move because, of course, it has quite a lot of range when you put it up on a high ground like that, so it can blast away at, for instance, any static defenses that might be thrown up here by Papa Smurf. Also just very annoying in general. Very low micro investment, right? You can just put those up there and you don't really have to worry about anything. Here you go. There it is, firing away at those medium tanks with reckless abandon. Always cool to see. A little bit of a vehicle backlog coming up right now. Now this is critical. We get these metal extractors up and running. We're starting to hit that point in the game where it really does hurt not having these completely saturated. There go the medium tanks. discovering an alleyway, looking for an opportunity. They have it. They need only move forward right here. Conquester, the 9 true skill American hero right here, pulling the tanks back right here. Little bit of a lack of scouting means, of course, we don't know exactly what we're going up against here for the Maroon Commander, but it's actually a whole lot of nothing. If we sent those medium tanks through, I believe we'd probably be able to do enough damage. It's just a matter of building up the courage to send those units forward. Obviously, it's a tricky situation. You send too many of those tanks forward, you end up feeding a lot of metal to your enemy. Sometimes that gamble's worth it, though. Certainly worth bringing down a couple of metal extractors. 3 medium tanks for 3 metal extractors, I would say, is probably worth it, depending on how fast you can rebuild them. Right now, the Maroon Commander, not rebuilding them very quickly, though. No production right here either. We paused production to build these metal extractors, which means I think we should probably send this constructor around to build mexes here as well. Wouldn't be the end of the world. We're setting up walls on the front line. Not sure if walls are going to work out all too well. Typically, when you're playing vehicles, walls tend to be more of a hindrance to yourself than actually to anybody else. Missile trucks firing away at grunts over here on the right-hand side. So far, looking fairly stock standard. Although I will say, Duke Nukem, the hot pink commander here, definitely doing a wonderful job of barricading in his team, or his opponent, rather. Otso Nick. Probably pretty comfortable with this, actually. Yeah, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be uncomfortable about this. You don't get this metal extractor, which certainly hurts, but essentially what it means is, yeah, you don't have to worry about your lane at all. Well, this actually looks like a little bit of miss micro right here. I don't think these Rocketeers were meant to be marching around on this left-hand side here. Might be a little bit of an APM stall moment for our green commander. Ah, there we go, trying to deacon down some of those barricades. But yeah, the Rocketeers are actually free to help on any side that they want. So we do see orange units being produced. That's always nice. Storm K has not gone hardcore into tech, so at the very least we are going to be seeing a little bit of support from the backline here. Gonna be necessary as these Rocketeers essentially ignore this front line right now. We need a radar tower, maybe up on this hillside wouldn't be a bad idea. Duke Nukem continuing to build on this front line right here, putting together fortifications all over the place. But I just don't think that's really gonna be all too cost efficient. There we go, that's one funny way of dealing with all that. Just put an LLT up there. Sure, why not? Little anti-air tower to shut down any transports as well. Things are looking nice for the red team right now, I will say. Rocketeers en masse right now, about to find a heavy laser turret that does start to hurt, but we have the vehicle support. Heavy laser tower is pretty sturdy, though. If you can't take them down in 1 or 2 volleys, then you probably shouldn't fight them at all. And there we go, that heavy laser area denial turret does a wonderful job of blasting down these units. Oh no! Our Tan Commander has no idea what's going on. The Commander goes down, and just like that, thousands of metal explode on the front lines for the Tan Commander and his team. You can see immediately Gavis Khan moves forward to reclaim all that. Missile trucks still lying in the wait right here, but definitely an APM slippage right there from Jean-Ware, the Tan Commander, and that's going to be a nice little advantage for the Blue Commander. Certainly rocketing that Commander into T2, if not going for T2 already. Actually going to be investing in a couple more units on the backline here, sending them towards the front. Not sure entirely whether that investment is going to be well worth it or not, but we'll see. Meanwhile, the medium tank ball is building. Yeah, building quite sufficiently. There we go. Yeah, Lavender Commander has started just mass producing Janices. We have tons and tons of brutes available for Conquester. We have Salamander Spillionaire, the brown commander here, going to be going up against Papa Smurf, or trying to at the very least. It's a lot of grunts, but not necessarily super threatening against, for instance, maces. Centurions in the mix also will do wonderfully against that big spam of units here, and all said and done, I guess I don't really mind that comp altogether too much. Yeah, it's a menacing looking army, but in all reality, not worth very much whatsoever. We do have construction bots up here. Those could be used to reclaim it. I'd love to see it, but we could also send some res bots forward. We have the metal to afford it. There we go. We are starting up a T2 lab right here. We actually need to dump the metal before reclaiming. Oh no. Blue Commander unaware of exactly how much metal they've got in the bank right here. Going to be handing out about 620 metal to the team right there. Lovely stuff. The generous commander that they are going to be dumping metal across the team and helping everybody get their metal on. There's also a T2 constructor that's been handed over here as well. And man, goodness, these wind turbines, they're so close together. I iterate this every once in a while, maybe every single game at this point, but wind turbines should always be spaced out at least 1 click apart from each other, otherwise they run the risk of exploding. While we watch this run by, I can show you what I mean right here. If you hit Z and then C and then you select your wind turbines, by hitting Z as in Zulu or X as in X-ray, you can space them or unspace them. Just like that, as you can see. Clicking them one space apart will prevent them from chain reacting. Important to know. As we see a good old medium tank ball. This is nothing fancy. This is nothing fancy. This is just putting your metal out on the field here. It's just producing with what you've got. It's just using your resources and being aggressive with them. It's the simplest lesson to learn, but an important one nonetheless. There we go. Spybot connection is huge. Gonna shut down all these Janets for a good long while. 16, 15 seconds left on all of those. Another Spybot right here. Ooh, does get uncloaked by going too close to the Janets. They may be paralyzed, but they can still see. Surprising as that may be. Wind turbines chain reacting right here. And at the end of the day, is it really just the medium tanks? Well, I will be darned. Those medium tanks managing to just find the perfect opening at the perfect time. The Maroon Commander slipping on the production right there. Being a little too greedy, not spending the metal on units, not claiming the metal extractors fast enough, and this is the advantage you end up with. Fusion reactor almost completed here, but not before the medium tanks start tearing apart this base. And there they go, trying to blast away at all of this here. We're desperate to finish that fusion reactor, but it's never going to come up in time. Build power is starting to fall over here. Nice splits as well right now from the Powder Blue Commander. Sends the medium tanks forward and manages to blow apart the air player's base right in the middle of a T2 transition. What a beautiful timing attack. The perfect timing attack, just right on the 10-minute mark, managing to send those medium tanks forward right here. The Maroon Commander falling, and it was the key that unlocked a victory here in this extremely quick game of Beyond All Reason. Certainly a lower level match, but if there's one thing to learn, it's that when you have the units, it's worth being aggressive with them, because they just might be able to get you the win. Definitely a quick one today, but I do appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end of this video. I'd appreciate it if you drop a like too as well. Always helps the channel grow, and it helps Beyond All Reason as a game grow. I really feel like we have been growing as a community quite a whole lot, and that's always riveting to see here. You can see the Red Commander spending tremendously, a crazy economy, but at the end of the day, it was the medium tanks that ended up winning the game. Units are better than everything else, and I sure hope to see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.